Greetings and welcome to STEM Inspired, where we utilize personal stories and experiences to interest the possibility of a STEM profession to adolescents. I'm your host, Jacob Zendejas. Today on the show we have a park ranger and a park dive officer. They grew up on Catalina Island, they're a surfer, they love the ocean, and they actually swam in front of a baby gray whale while scuba diving. Please give a warm welcome to Kelly Moore. Could you tell us your name and what you do for a living?
Sure. My name is Kelly Moore, and my official title is Park Ranger and Park Dive Officer here at Channel Islands National Park. I also serve as one of the park's marine ecologists. There's sort of three main focuses for my job. So first, in my role as a park ranger, I deliver formal and informal education programs to students and other park visitors. And I deliver these programs either in the classroom or from underwater with our distance learning program called Channel Islands Live. And I can talk more about that in a bit. But my role, secondly, as park dive officer, I manage the Channel Islands National Park's dive program. And we have about 30 divers with varying levels of scuba diving experience. And it's sort of my job to make sure that these divers have the knowledge and skills necessary to conduct safe dive operations here at the park, and as well as meet the requirements of all National Park Service divers. And then the last hat I wear is at that of a research diver on the Channel Islands National Park's Kelp Force Monitoring Program. And this is a long-term monitoring program that has been collecting information on over 70 species of fish, invertebrates, and algae at the Channel Islands for over 35 years now. And this information that we collect, or this data that we collect, is then used by resource managers to sort of determine how best to protect and to preserve the rich diversity of marine life that we have at the Channel Islands. So that's sort of my job in a nutshell. Lots and lots of scuba dives. I probably log about 150 or 200 dives a year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. What is the best part about your profession?
Oh, that's hard. I think that there's something really special about our national parks. And for me, I've always loved the outdoors and especially the ocean. I love animals and I really care about the environment. And there, at times when I look up and my eyes just, find the sun setting over the islands and the winds are calm and brown pelicans are soaring above me and sea lions are playing in the ocean. And I think all those moments sort of just fill me up. And those moments are really some of the more rewarding ones. What
is rewarding about your profession?
I feel very fortunate to be able to personally, as a scuba diver, be able to observe firsthand and study underwater. So I get to be underwater and see sort of everything with my own eyes, and then share that experience, that personal experience, with students and with visitors. And students particularly, they are our future ocean stewards. And, as someone who cares so much about the ocean, it's really important to me to instill the same passion and love and stewardship that I feel to this next generation. And when I speak to students or visitors, I really enjoy seeing them engage in that content that I'm presenting. And that just makes me feel that I'm doing something important at my job.
And could you tell me about a time that was a great experience in doing your profession?
Gosh, there's a lot to choose from because every day is so different down there. There was one time, which is really one of my favorite scuba dives I've done, where I was diving off Santa Barbara Island, which is one of the 5 park islands. And I was probably underwater about 60 feet. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a baby gray whale swim up to me. And it was probably 10 or 15 feet away from me. And I knew it had been at that island for a few weeks. I think it got separated from its mom somehow. And so this calf had just been circling around the island for a bit. So we'd seen it. And it just was this moment of connecting, through seeing each other. And I saw its eye and it saw me. And of course, I was a little afraid because even a baby gray whale is bigger than a school bus, right?
Yeah.
But it was it was one of the.
And what's the inspiration or even motivation to continue to do what you do?
I think seeing some of the changes that have occurred in recent years, and you hear words like climate change and ocean acidification and overfishing, and there's a lot of constant threats to our system, and we're able to actually see some of this now with invasive species and coastal development and habitat loss. And I think it's just really important, maybe more now than ever, to be active in protecting what we have. Mm-hmm. And preserving what we have. And I think that that's some of the main focus of my job and my work. And it's what drives me. I think because I do love it so much, and it's such a part of who I am and what I believe in.
And do you have a personal connection to your profession?
Yeah, I do, actually. I grew up on a tiny island off the coast of Southern California called Santa Catalina Island. It's one of the Channel Islands, and there are 8 in total, but there are just 5 in this national park. So one of the other islands is where I grew up, and as a child, my brother and I spent all our free time in the ocean around our island home, and we dived and we snorkeled and we fished and we water skied, and that, I think, was where my love for the environment, particularly the ocean environment, was born. And I always knew that I felt a deep connection to the ocean, probably because I was just so comfortable being in it, because that's what we did so often as kids, that from an early age, I felt that strong desire to want to take care of it and protect it. So I think that might be where my personal connection sort of started and has just evolved, since then.
So how was that growing up, like just living on an island compared to on the mainland?
Well, a lot of people have asked me that since I left the rock, we call it. And I think at the time it was normal to me. As a kid, you don't think your upbringing is any different than anybody else. I think since then, and having this conversation with a lot of people over the years, I realized how unique it was and what a tight-knit community we were, and everybody looked out for each other. It was a very outdoor community. I think there are lots of things happening that kept kids and families outside, and it was neat. In sports in high school, we had to take a boat to the mainland to play other teams and stay overnight, and they had to do the same thing when they played us. They had to get on a boat and come over and stay in a hotel, which they absolutely loved to do. So it was different and unlike probably most kid experiences, and I'm really grateful for it because it's definitely helped shape me.
Can you tell me about someone who has been the biggest influence in your life?
I had a really wonderful upbringing, 2 wonderfully supportive parents, and they both instilled in me and my brother a great work ethic. And I think in the National Park Service or in, government, state government or federal government, you're serving your position and you're serving your country or your state. And I think that's what my parents also instilled in me, was a sense of service and, respect for other people. And I have carried that through, and, they were wonderful role models for me too in my life.
And did they have an interest in marine life as well?
My dad was a fisherman, and my mom's whole side of the family are a bunch of fishermen. So they, I think, liked the ocean in that sense. But my dad was a diver and a free diver and loved to spend time in the ocean. He and I are both surfers too. So that was something we did together on the water. My mom, not so much, but she's a forestry major, so we could always find her wandering through the trees in the mountains. But definitely my mom was a Forest Service ranger, so we have that in common. But yeah, my dad and I share a lot of our love for the sea, and my brother too. But yeah, no one else has really studied marine science like I have.
So what advice would you give to children who would like to enter a STEM profession?
Oh, I'd say go for it. Please go for it, truly, as the planet needs you. And, as with all professions, it takes hard work and it takes dedication and being motivated to succeed. It takes money. All school and degrees, all require funding. It's not cheap, but you can make it affordable. There are a lot of options and resources out there that can help you. I wasn't necessarily good in science or math, but I put in the time and I eventually got it, and I use it, believe it or not, on a regular basis. So it does matter. But I go home every day feeling good about the work that I do, and I know that I'm contributing something positive to my community and to my country. And this could be a stretch, but I believe it, to the world. Good planets are really hard to find, and we have a great one. And I think that, it's going to be more important than ever to have people who feel that way and who are motivated by the same things that motivate me. And you want to put that passion, to work for our planet. Mm-hmm. So go for it.
And what advice or information would you give yourself when you were younger?
Oh, where do I begin with that? Oh, I probably would tell myself to relax and not stress out so much and enjoy those years more, because like I told you earlier, I was a very motivated young lady and spent a lot of time studying and working towards my goals, in part because, science and math were hard for me. And so it took a little bit extra time for me to get it than other people. But there is that really important balance that can be achieved between working hard and playing hard. And I didn't have it back then. I guess I've turned out okay, but I think I would have, if I could tell myself anything, just, you'll get it. Don't stress out so much. Relax and enjoy those moments, because they go by so fast.
Well, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to share your story. It's been truly inspiring. I loved hearing all the stories.
Oh, thanks. It's been really nice to talk to you too.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Take care, Jacob.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our program. STEM Inspired is a project of BC STEM Ventura County's cross-sector network to improve educational outcomes in the STEM fields from early learning to career. STEM Inspired is generously funded by Arconic, Innovation Engineered. Please join us next time as we continue to dive into the lives and experiences of STEM professionals. As always, I'm Jacob Zindahaz. Discover new things. You never know when an interest can become a passion that can change the world. This has been STEM Inspired.